guys, welcome to, I almost said Stacking the Shelves, but this is the best books of February, and I know I'm getting to this kind of late. Everybody knows it's been a little bit hectic this month. So as we adjust to everybody being home all the time and everything, I just got a little bit late about this. So I'm going to go ahead and go through these. There are a lot of them. I know when I did January, I didn't have very many books that I really liked, but February was a much better month for me. There's just like a lot of books that I really, really loved in February. In fact, I had trouble kind of getting it down to what did I end up with, like 10 books I want to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. So the first three were all Full Metal Alchemist books, and I finished up that series. So 19 through 21, 22 through 24, 25 through 27. I thought this was an excellent manga series. It's just very well done. It's well drawn. The story is great. The characters are great. I really have nothing bad to say about it. My whole family has loved it. My 13-year-old son loves it. My husband is reading it, really likes it. So I guess if you're just a fan of a good, solid manga series, this is a great one. So yeah, you know, if you need something to read, you can pick these up. I love when the mangas come in like an omnibus like this because I like reading a little bit longer book. I feel like the single volumes, they only take me like 20 minutes to read. So this actually takes me a little bit more time to read, and I just like getting it in these omnibus collections. So those were the first three that I really, really loved. The next one that I really loved kind of surprised me, and I picked this up kind of on a whim through Amazon Vine to review, and that is The Henna Artist by Alka Joshi. I don't know how to say that. This is a really interesting book, and it takes place in the 1950s in Jaipur in India. So it's about a woman who works as a henna artist for like the elite there, and that's how she makes her living. And she's finally getting financially independent. She got sold off into an abusive marriage and is trying to like build a life for herself in the city. And then her sister, she didn't know she even had a younger sister, but her younger sister shows up and just like completely topples this very carefully built house of cards she has created in order to make it in Jaipur. So this I thought was really well written, and I just loved it. I love these like historical fiction books that give you this interesting glimpse into this culture that's different and this time frame that's a little bit different. And I didn't even realize everything that was going on in India in the 1950s. So I loved it. I thought it was very readable, very fun, very engaging. I had a really hard time putting it down. So I really like this. All right. Next one I read that I really loved in February is Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. This was really well done. It's a young adult-ish kind of book, and it's set in an alternate historical time right after like the Gettysburg War and all that kind of stuff. And during Gettysburg, I believe, I read it a while ago now, the dead start walking. And in all of this, like slavery has been abolished, but a lot of the African American people are being sent off to schools to learn how to fight so that they can guard the rich white folks, right? And that's kind of the basis of some of this. The world building in here is phenomenal. I love the main character. She's just a lot of fun to read about. And there's like politics and action, and it's just really fun. Like, I thought this was a fun book. And I listened to this on audiobook, so if you like audiobooks, the audiobook, at least the first one in the series, is really well done, and I really enjoyed it. So, yeah. Love that one as well. Okay, so that was 5. So the 6th one that I really liked in February was The Midnight Lie by Marie Rutkowski. I just said that wrong. I actually am a big fan of Marie Rutkowski's writing style. I know some people don't like her quite as much, but this one I really love. The whole thing takes place on like this magical island, and you have kind of two different classes, and one's magical and one's not. And it's just one like big like magical mystery with a bit of a romance story in there. And I thought it was really, really well done. So I like this a lot. If you like Marie Rutkowski's previous books, I would definitely recommend picking this up. I really like the cover to it too. I don't know why, it just really draws me, but I thought that was a really good book. And then how many is I on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we got 5, 6, 7. The 8th book that I really liked is Sweep With Me by Ilona Andrews. This should be no surprise to anybody who follows my blog. I'm a huge Ilona Andrews fan. In particular, I really like this Innkeeper series. And this book takes place back in the inn. The inns in this series are like living creatures, and I just think it's such a neat concept, and I love the characters so much, and you get to meet all these weird like alien races, and it was just really, really well done, and I was so happy to get to visit that world again, and it was just such a comforting and entertaining read, I guess. All right, so the 9th book that I really liked in February is Seven Endless Forests by April Genevieve Tuchok. Did I say that right? I should probably look up how to say these at some point. This book takes place in the same world that Bloodless Mercies, or what's the name of that one, takes. The last book she wrote, it takes place in that same world. So it's got kind of this Arthurian vibe to it. It's very like visceral and raw most of the time. And it's just about these people trying to escape or get revenge on this other lady who's going around and killing a whole bunch of people. It's hard to explain. I really like these just because the writing style is a lot different. They're kind of very raw and visceral, and like it's back in like a different time where people lived very differently. And I like the Boneless Mercies. That's what it is. I like Boneless Mercies a lot. I like this one a lot. They have like a very like questing feel to them, but they're set in kind of a, well, it's like Arthurian stuff, but set more like in a Viking type of age or something. Yeah, I liked it a lot. If you liked Boneless Mercies, you'll probably really like this one as well. If you hated Boneless Mercies, which I know some people did, I wouldn't recommend reading this because it's very, very similar to Boneless Mercies. And I loved it, so I had to talk about it. All right, and then the last one, the 10th book, that I really loved in the month of February is one like a million people have read, but it took me a while to get around to it. And my son actually got me into it. He started reading it at school and was like, Mom, have you read this series yet? It's really awesome. And so I went ahead and got it for audiobook. And then the whole series was on sale for audiobook with their like series sale that just finished up. And that is Scythe by Neal Shusterman. I will say that me and Neal Shusterman have kind of a mixed past. Like some of his stuff I really like, some of his stuff I do not like. So I really liked, what was the one? There was one where it was about ghosts or whatever, people coming back as ghosts, that whole series. I really liked that one. Then I read like Unwind. I thought that one was dumb and like whatever. All that aside, the Arc of a Scythe series has been fantastic. I actually just finished The Thunderhead, which is the second book in the series. Really loved it. This is just such an interesting world, such an interesting concept, and it was amazing. Like, there's so much in here. Like, not only is it just a good story to follow along, there's a lot of food for thought, and the whole concept behind this is humanity has gotten to the point, like, they created an AI named the Thunderhead that takes care of them, and the AI helped them solve, like, all diseases, including death. So nobody dies anymore, and nobody's sick anymore. And, you know, what is humanity supposed to be doing? Well, you can't overpopulate the earth, so some people have to die somehow. And that was handled by creating scythes, who are other humans who get to go and decide who dies. Just a lot of food for thought. Very, very intriguing book. Very well written. I really loved it. Definitely a Shusterman book. Like, his style is pretty prevalent throughout the book, but I loved it. And I would highly recommend it. It's just a lot of food for thought. And my son was like blown away by the ideas behind it. And honestly, I kind of was too. Like, I've read books about societies where people never die, but this is really well done. So those were the books that I really liked in February. I know I kind of whipped through them. So, you know, if you want to go back and pause or something, feel free. I will talk a little bit about a situation that's going on here because I just feel like it needs some talking about. So we are in Minnesota, as you guys know. You've heard me talk about before. I work at 3M, and 3M their campus is shut down now. We're all working from home as we can. I do work in a lab, so that has been a little bit of an adjustment. I've only been doing that for a few days, though, because we were on spring break last week, so we ended up just going up to Duluth, Minnesota, and it was weird. We went hiking a lot. on icy trails with our crampons because we couldn't do anything else. The first couple nights we did go out to eat, but we were like the only people in the restaurant. And so we were like socially distancing by eating out or something like that. I don't know. It was crazy. My husband always works from home, so this hasn't been a big change for him, but my son is going to be off school. Again, he was off school the end of last week, well, all last week for spring break anyways, so it wasn't like a huge change for us. But it is weird. It's weird to like be outside going for a walk, and when you see somebody, like everybody automatically like switches sides of the road or like goes, you know, we went out around a hiking trail today, and there was another family out there, and they like walked off onto a side path so like we could walk by, and it's a little bit weird. But the only thing I really want to say to everybody is just follow the recommendations from the CDC. Okay, so social distancing is super important. Wash your hands. Make sure you're not being crazy about like getting stuff. Like we were a little bit concerned when we got back from our trip. We went to Super Target. Almost everything had been restocked. They were out of potatoes and ground beef, which is weird, but almost everything had been restocked. People were being very good about social distancing. We didn't really have any issues. I was like really just be nice to your poor grocery store people. So I was really trying to be nice to them. I was like telling them thank you and telling them like, oh, we appreciate you working so hard and all that, because they've been having a really rough time, and you've probably seen stuff on social media. Like the grocery store workers are like breaking down because people are being so mean to them. So be kind to people, do the social distancing. I mean, even if you're across the road from somebody, you can still wave and say hi, you know, make sure you're washing your hands a lot, like everybody's talking about. And don't be stupid. I said that last time in my video, but don't be mean, don't be cruel, and don't do high risk things that you don't need to do, because this is serious. It's very, very serious. And on that note, I know we're all going to mentally go a little bit crazy. So, you know, do stuff that's fun. Like make sure you're watching some funny cat videos, or play with your pets, or do board games with your family, or make up silly games in the house, or whatever. Just do stuff that's fun, and try to keep your spirits up as best as you can. I know we've really been focusing on trying to make sure everybody gets enough physical activity, you know, so like we are lucky we can live in a bigger house and we have a treadmill and stuff like that, so it's not much of a problem. But go outside, go walking, you know, you can do stuff like that without coming into contact with too many people a lot of times. But don't do stupid things. Don't go to like, I don't know, don't go to the grocery store during prime time and stand around with a million people. Don't go to any weird events that are still being held. You know, don't, make sure you're cognizant of people around you. And like I was telling my son, like some people are going to be more sensitive than others. So make sure you're giving everybody their space. You're going to have people who are very anxious and people who don't care, and the whole spectrum. Just make sure you treat everybody with respect. So I think that's the most important thing through all of this, is just not to lose our sense of humanity and kindness and understanding, because no matter who you are, there's somebody who's in a more stressful situation than you're in. So let's just try to keep things as good as we can. And you know, maybe I'll try to update with some funny stories as time goes on here. I will say I do have kind of a funny story. We have our kitten, who was actually just in here, but he left. Here, if you guys want some cat time, I got this big fluffy orange one here who's sleeping. Oh, yeah, he was sleeping. He says, Mom, what's going on? This is Sprocket, and he's our big, fat, lazy orange one. We have another younger orange cat named Ravidi who really likes his people a lot. So whenever anybody's home, he wants to like be keeping tabs on all of them. And the poor little guy is absolutely exhausted at night now, because he is like trying to like make sure I'm doing okay, and make sure my son is doing okay, and make sure my husband's doing okay. So he's like running around like crazy, and it's funny. But he's a little stressed because he has to make sure everyone is doing okay all the time. And by the time it gets to nighttime, he's just like, oh my God, I need a nap. So that's been kind of funny. And maybe we will do some funny videos of the cats and stuff and post them just to help people have a little bit more fun. Anyways, all that being said, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the post about the best books I read in February. Sorry it's so late, but maybe it'll give you some good reading stuff to pick up. And I will continue to do posts, and I'm going to kind of just do business as usual. So I hope everybody is staying healthy, practicing safe habits to try to slow this whole virus thing down. And I hope that you're all staying sane and keeping your spirits up as we work through this. I know it's super tough. I'm a very anxious person, and I've been alternately like worried I'm not being paranoid enough and worried I'm being too paranoid. And like, it's hard to find a balance like mentally on how to deal with all this. So I just want you guys to all know that we're all in this together, and we'll make it through it. Okay. So I hope you have a great week and got some great books for reading. And I will be talking to you shortly because I'm also going to be doing a Stacking the Shelves coming up in a few days, and maybe some other random posts. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.